Hey, coaches, welcome back to Football Talk with Coach Chip on YouTube. Reason I say that is now we got Football Talk with Coach Chip, the podcast on Spotify. Still trying to get it up on Apple. The dude that Apple technician has been busy playing golf. I don't know how he's playing in this heat, but he's a competitive golfer and he's been playing golf all over the Southeast. And we'll get it up. And you won't miss anything if you're an Apple podcast person. All of them will be up there eventually. You can binge listen to them when they get up there. But thank you so much for being here, spending time with Coach Chip. Today we're looking at troubleshooting the counter versus a well-coached odd front. I got a text message from one of the guys that purchased the Gap Down Backer O-line manual. And of course, when you purchase something like that, you get an email as an attachment. Well, my phone number's on the email. And it's kind of like you buying access to me too. And he sent me a text and said, hey, I'm having trouble with these 4 techniques versus an odd front with our GT counter. What do you think? And I sent him back for about 3 or 4 options. 3. And then I thought of a 4th one later, and it's included in this. I got to thinking, I said, if he's having issues with that, maybe some others are too. And we are a subscriber-driven YouTube channel, just like the podcast is listener-driven. When people reach out to me, and I've always heard it said that 10% of your audience is the ones that reach out to you. If one guy's having that issue, surely more other people are having that issue, or will eventually have that issue with squeezing or pinching defensive ends when you're trying to kick them out, whether it be on power or whether it be on the GT counter is the one he was talking about. I'm not using his name. I don't use anybody's name that I talk to or buys things from me or people that do Zooms with me and they pay me to consult for them. I don't use names because somebody else that's on your schedule, may also be a listener or a subscriber, a viewer to Football Talk with Coach Chip. And so it's confidentiality, and I just don't want to go there and tell people that, oh yeah, so-and-so, they use me. Maybe there's people in their community that say like, well, why are we paying them to coach if they're using other people? Not realizing that even the D1s use consultants and visit with other coaches in season and out of season. But that's just the way. They don't know how it works. I can do the same thing for you, and I'm doing it for you right now. Like I said, one guy had this issue, maybe some others had the issue as well. Before we get started, let's take care of some housekeeping. Remember, we've got the Gap Down Backer manual for offensive line play. That's only $30. We've got the big book of bucks. It's only $30. We got the playbook. It's only $30. You get all 3, it's only $60. You get 2 of them, it's only $40. So I give you a bulk discount rate like I'm Costco or Sam's Club. And I wish I had their money and they had a feather in their pocket and we'd both be tickled. Don't forget all that stuff. Also, don't forget to subscribe. Speaking of subscribers, those of y'all that don't keep up with me on social media, we hit the 3,000 subscriber mark. I've had a YouTube channel for like 12 years, but I didn't post anything. It was just my YouTube account through Google. I started making videos about January of 2020. So a little over, not quite 4.5 years, right about 4.5 years, I got 3,000 subscribers. And yeah, I'm bragging because that's a big deal for me, okay? Because I'm just doing this for the fun of it, just trying to help coaches and give back to the coaching community and give back to football. I've been in it for 50 years, counting playing days, 52 years. I've been coaching for 40. I coached for 40 before I retired. Yeah, that tickles the snot out of me. Hey, it's no time to get complacent. Get off your fanny, like it, share it. And if you're watching it and the analytics say about half of you don't subscribe, why? You have a fear of commitment or something? I'm glad I'm not your significant other. Good, googly moogly. Come on, y'all. All right, we got freebies. I do push the things I sell. I'm trying to justify it. I look at it like all those years of coaching when I got that little bit of a coaching supplement or a stipend, they call it in some parts of the country. It didn't pay for what I did, but it kind of justified my time. And so I do push the stuff that I sell, but I give stuff away. 90% of what I send out, I give it away. And here's one of them right here. Special summer freebie, sample practice schedules. It is a Microsoft Excel file with several practice schedules in it. It's got one platoon, which is most guys that hit me up for it, wanting that one platoon. Also got two platoon. It's a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 3-day practice week. If you're a middle school team or a youth league team, you can adapt it to your practice schedule, how you do it. Because I know some middle schools play on Monday or Tuesdays, some play on Thursdays. A lot of your youth league teams play on Saturdays. You can adapt it to whatever it is you do. Also included in that are install plans in the same file. All you got to do is look at it, and you can see right here, this is a picture, a screenshot of my install plan, I believe it is, for the Buck. And you can see you can put it in for power, you put it in for ISO, put it in for zone, jet, whatever it is you're doing. You can put it works for any offense. It's just how we did it. And I got several different ways, at least 2 different ways to install the big, small, big way. If you'll get it, you see what I'm talking about. Or the way you see right here, where you start out small, medium, big. You go from indie time to big group time, which is a combination of different positions, and to team time. That's available to you free. All you got to do is hit me up at siegel.chip@gmail.com. I've talked enough. Let's get going. All right, here we go. Trying to figure out troubleshooting the counter versus odd fronts with those pesky 4 techniques. Right here, the guard is wrong. Why? He's too deep. Look at him. All right, he got his depth, did a good skip pull, got his depth, but never got back downhill to dig out. You say, well, what if he doesn't squeeze, coach? You can still get him. You can be too shallow and get deeper, but you can't be too deep and get back shallow. It's a rule. I didn't make it up. It's law of physics, baby. To talk to people a lot smarter than me about physics. But I just know you can't be deep and get back shallow. That defensive end is fixing to blow you up, or he's fixing to put something on your running back that Ajax will not take off. He's going to hit him right in the old teeth. You've got to get downhill. Let's look at the options that I gave the coach, things he can do. And I just said, these are some of the things I would do. You're having trouble with these 4 techs. This is some of the things that I've done in the past. Let's look. Option 1, keep doing what you're doing, as long as you're getting downhill, but teach your guard to log. Teach your guard to log. So if that guy's coming in there and you can't dig him out, you log him. It's an inside-out block. You hit him now on his outside instead of his inside, because he's taking that away. And then you pivot your hips and pin his donkey inside. Once you get that taught to the guard, that's only half the battle. You better be repping up that tackle, how to read that guard's bootay, so when he sees that log happening, he goes around it so you don't have a 3-car pileup right here and you got a free runner coming from the inside fixing to hit your running back. Okay, so it's not just a one-position thing. If you're teaching log blocks to your guards, to your kickers, whoever it may be, you've got to teach the wrappers. In this case, the tackle, you may be running GH, GF, GY. Your wrappers have to know how to recognize that log, that he's logging, they're squeezing, and get around him. And so he can still make his block on the backer. All right, squeezing and pinching are 2 different things. Squeezing is when the defensive line is reacting to the offensive line. They see a down block, they're squeezing tight to the outside hip of that down block, getting down in here to try to blow it up in the hole, to bounce that thing outside to free runners, free hitters. Whereas pinching is predetermined. And I'll show you what to do about pinchers on another slide. But pinching is predetermined. That guy on the snap of the ball, he's coming inside. And you see a lot of teams that do that, their D linemen aren't real good at reading and reacting to the blocks. The coaches will go ahead and just predetermine the squeeze, if you will. It's almost like if you got linebackers that won't get up in there and fit, you go ahead and you fire them. If they won't fire themselves, you fire them. And if that still doesn't work, then you really fire them. You're fired. Find somebody else to play. Squeezing is when they're reacting. Pinching is when it's a predetermined slant, if you will, trying to get inside. And they really are hoping to blow this tackle up so he can't get to the backer. That's why D-line movement exists. All right, option number 2 that I gave the coach. Bucket step with the play side tackle. You can see what I mean right here. And there's a lot of guys that do this with their gap scheme, whether they're using gap on down or whether they're using gap down backer. They're not waiting. They're just taking a step to buy angle, to buy time, taking a step. And if that guy this is why you got to know the difference between pinching and squeezing. A squeezing DN's not going to react to that step the same way. A pinching DN sees movement and he's gone. So when you take that step, now the down block's right there. And the kicker will now come kick an outside backer who's coming up, or will come around that down block, because the rump line that we talk so much about in the gap down backer manual, the rump line is now extended out to here. Does that make sense to you? And so the guard, the wrapper, in this case the tackle, is going to wrap around that offensive tackle's block right there. Okay, and you could have two of them leading up in there. Like if you got something going on out here where your receiver's keeping outside backers occupied, you may wind up with two guys wrapping because the kicker may turn into a wrapper. There's nobody out there to kick. And that's when you got a good thing, cuz I promise you. So this will work versus pinching DNs, and it's also good versus 4-eyes. So a 4-eye is a guy that just went ahead and lined up in the pinch. He lined up on the inside shoulder, and he's pretty much 70, 80% of the time, he's saying, I got this B gap. And it's very rare you'll see the slice outside. They'll do it, but it's just not as common, especially at the high school level. So that bucket step's not a bad thing. I'm calling it bucket step for lack of a better step. Some guys call it a power step. Some guys call it a down step. I just say in bucket step because it's very similar to the bucket step the zone teams take. And all you're doing is I did that a lot against odd teams several years ago. Now, it does depend on your tackles. Can they do it? All right, option number 3, backside guard, get downhill and dig him out. In my opinion, this is the best choice. Block the counter the same way you would block the inside trap, the A-gap trap. The same way wing T teams do it, wishbone teams do it, I formation teams do it. Been doing it for years. We did it for years. When we were in T, we were I, we were bone, we ran fullback trap. And what we do is, because you're trapping the first thing, we trap the first thing head up to outside the guard. So you got a guy that's lined up in a 3-tech and he's squeezing, you're going to have a train wreck right here. So you got to get downhill. Take your skip pull if you teach skip pull. And as soon as you get your depth to get away from the back block and the down block, so in case you got a whale of a nose right here getting some penetration, you don't get hung up. You don't get what I call BOGO. They don't take out your guard and both your guards is what would happen. You'd have a 3-car pile up right here. So you got to get your depth and get downhill. Get up in the line. We put a cone here, get around that cone, get downhill. We put a cone here, little flat cones so they don't trip over them. You can use rags. Last several years I was in coaching full time. I had rags. They were easy to keep up with. You can use the practice vest, just throw them down, skip pull around that, and then get downhill to the next one and turn out. And you got a lot better chance in making that block. You need to be teaching that no matter what. If you're playing even front teams, you need to be teaching that. Because sure enough, let's say you have a hell of a season, you're in the second, third round of the playoffs. And now you play an odd front team that's got a Bodog out here playing DN, and he's been well coached, and he's coming, and you've been getting away with it because of your schedule, with him coming flat right here, and it's been working for you. Now all of a sudden you're sitting there, look, you got egg on your face, probably got something nastier than egg, looking like you don't know what's going on, because for the last 10, 12 weeks, you've been letting your guard get away with doing it wrong because it worked. Now all of a sudden you play somebody that's good. That's why you got to fix yourself. You got to look at every game film like you lost the game. Don't sit there and just admire your work like Da Vinci looking at the Mona Lisa when he put that last stroke up there on that canvas. Option 4, play side tackle, pass sets before blocking down. A lot of you are going like, I ain't doing that. Well, it's not a bad idea. If you're a passing team that throws the ball a significant amount of the time, and you're playing against a team that's got a really good pass rushing DN, what you do is you pass set, boom, boom, like 2 steps, throw those hands up, hi-hat, draw his butt up the field. Now he doesn't have a down block to react to and squeeze to. He's thinking first step or 2, he's thinking pass, and then bam, release inside on your. And you say, well, that messed with our rules. Have a call. That week, we're playing against it. Hey, this week, when you got gap down backer on whatever you call counter left, pass set the dude, then go. Dip and rip with that outside arm right here. When he starts coming up field, like you're rushing the passer, throw that outside arm through and then release right here. It might even help on the mic because the mic may see that out of his peripheral vision right there. There's that Troy State University education coming through again. You can't hide intelligence because he may not come right away because he sees that out of the corner of his eye right there. By the way, that's what peripheral means, corner of your eye. He sees that right there. He may back up when he sees that pass set, or at least not come right away. And then you got a better chance of getting him with your wrapper, your tackle, your H, your Y, your F, whatever you're wrapping with. But you're still, look at him. I still got him getting downhill. Skip pull, get your butt downhill, get around that cone, get to that cone, boom. And if you don't hit him until he's back up here, that's fine. Heck, man, we've had some of them run so far, they're happy butts up the field right there. I told the guy, I said, that's a self-block, man. Turn up, go get a safety. Let that DN check himself out. Pass set that dude and go. That's not a bad idea. If if you're throwing the ball 6-7 times a game, no, that ain't a good idea. If it's 3rd and 3, no, that ain't a good idea. And if you're playing against a team that's got jug butts over here at DN and not athletes, maybe it's not a good idea. But it's not a bad idea depending on the circumstance. All right, there's the freebie again. Contact me at siegel.chip@gmail.com, and I'll get that to you post haste. Don't forget the offensive line manual for gap scheme blocking. Hit me up at siegel.chip. I can tell you how we work that out real quick. Don't forget the podcast on Spotify. Got new episodes dropping weekly. I'm trying to do it where they load every Saturday night so far because I'm not having trouble right now getting guests. But during football season, I don't know what's going to happen. I may do reruns because guys are busy and I hate to hit them up. 11:59 p.m. on Saturday night. So when you wake up Sunday morning, boom-o, it's there, Bubba. If you want to dive deeper into any of the concepts or if you want to install them, holler at me, siegel.chip@gmail.com. I'm doing in-person if you're not too far away. I'm doing a couple, within an hour, 2-3 hours of here this summer. But I'm doing video. We'll do it Zoom. We'll do it Google Meet, whatever it is your school system uses. And to talk to me about that is hit me up at siegel.chip@gmail.com. If it's not too far, I'll come and I'll even meet with your kids and your coaches and all that. I've already done a couple of those already. All right, that's it for this episode of Football Talk with Coach Chip. Hit me up if you have any questions. And until next time, y'all be elite.